Hello, Younger Old here, and welcome to my channel. I've been messaged by a mature subscriber who's asked me to look at doing a video on bikes for shorter riders. So stay tuned and watch the intro. But before I start, I want to have a little bit of a rant. Now, this subscriber also mentioned that he's an older as well as shorter rider, and he can't manage a bigger bike now. But sometimes he feels he's not welcome at some bike meets. Now, what the hell is all that about? Are we not part of a great friendly community? We're all riders at the end of the day. Now, I'm sure most of us would not discriminate against anyone who rides a smaller bike, but there must be a minority who apparently do so. Hang your heads in shame. If you're a biker, then you're a biker, and it makes no difference what we can or cannot ride. Okay, rant over. Now, where was I? Oh yeah, about bikes for shorter riders. I've done some research online, but some of the bikes mentioned I've actually ridden or spoken to people who do ride them, just to try and get an unbiased opinion. I aim this content at anyone who is shorter stature, of any age, gender or strength, so I'll be covering bike weights as well. Now, you can be a shorter rider but have good enough strength in your legs, so the weight of the bike would not be as much as a problem as the seat height. Likewise, a taller rider may be fine on a taller bike, but could have a lack of strength in their legs, so they wouldn't be able to support the weight of a heavy bike. I'm a larger bloke who can manage my 300 plus kilogram bike, but even so, it can be a bit of a pain in the arse getting it backwards out of a tiled garage floor, over the threshold strip and onto a gravel drive. It's not that easy. A friend of mine got rid of his GTR 1400 just for that reason. So let's start with two new bikes that are on show at the Triumph factory. Now, surprisingly enough, they are Triumphs, and they both have a 400cc engine. Firstly, let's look at the Speed 400. Now, this is a 400cc single that produces 39.5 horsepower and weighs in at 170 kilogram. So the bike is also A2 license compliant. The seat height is 790mm, but I've actually heard and spoke to riders that sat on it, and they've actually said it is a little bit too high for them. Next is the 400cc Scrambler, which has the same power as the Speed 400, but the seat height jumps up to 835mm, and it's only 9 kilogram extra in weight. So it's a bit better for the taller rider rather than the Speed 400. A mate of mine owns two Yamaha XJ6s, and here's something I didn't realise. The seat height is 5mm lower than that of the Speed 400, and if the extra weight of only 26 kilograms is okay for you to handle, you will get rewarded with twice the amount of horses to play with than you do on the Speed 400. You actually get 78 horsepower with the XJ6. These statistics were taken off a 2015 model. Now, staying with Yamaha, the MT range are bikes with a great reputation, but let's look at the 300cc. The seat height is just under 780mm, so it's actually 10mm lower and just 1 kilogram lighter than the Speed 400. It has an extra 2 horsepower, so the 300 is a pretty good all-round package. The Suzuki SV650 has a lowest seat height at 785mm and weighs in at 197 kg. But then you have a V-twin pushing out 71 horsepower, so that's not too bad. The Suzuki Gladius has more or less the same specs, but as they're an older bike, some good second-hand ones around at reasonable prices. I've actually included the Triumph Bobber. They actually look a cool bike to ride, but the seat height is only 690 to 700mm, making them quite low. But due to the engine size, they are not a lightweight bike at 251 kg, and that engine will give you 77 brake horsepower. One bike that I thought would not get a mention was the Triumph Tiger, but they do a 900 GT low model, and that has a seat height of between 770 to 790mm, so it's lower than the Speed 400 and the MT-03. Yes, it's a bit heavier at 193 kg dry, but here again, if you can manage the weight of that bike, you get a lot more power, as the 900 engine produces 94 horsepower. Now, the bikes we use for the DAS training at the training scheme are Kawasaki Z650s. Now these have a seat height of 790mm. The weight is 187 kg wet, and they produce 67 brake horsepower. Now we use these in both full power specs and A2 license specs. We have lowered versions for shorter riders which have lowered seats, and I believe lowered suspension as well. Now lowering kits can be attained for a majority of bikes, so it's always an option. Seats can be shaved down to make them lower, and a lot of seat customizing firms will happily do this service for you. The Honda CMX 500 Rebel is a cruiser, and that will carry its weight pretty low down. They've got a seat height of 690mm and weigh in at 190 kg, and a power output of 46 horsepower. Now if you just add 16mm to the seat height of the Rebel, bringing it to 706mm, and add 33 kg in weight, you can then get a Kawasaki Vulcan 650, and you'll be granted with an extra 15 horsepower, making it a total of 61 horses on the reins. One brand of bike that is outselling other brands is the Royal Enfield. So let's have a look at the Meteor 350cc. It's a nice looking cruiser with a seat height of 765mm and weighs in at a chunky 191 kg, which seems a lot for its size. The engine produces just over 20 horsepower. Now that is only 5 horsepower more than a good 125cc. The seat height is lower than the MT-03, but it's a lot heavier and it only has half the power. The Meteor now has a big brother. It's the 650 version. Now this has a lower seat height of 735mm, but it ain't no lightweight. It tops the scales at 241 kg, but you will then gain more than double the power at 46.4. You could consider a Harley Davidson. The 883 Sportster comes in many dress codes and varieties. They have a low seat height. Yeah, they tend to be a little bit heavier, but it's not that much noticeable from what I've found, due to the weight being so low down. The power levels can be down a little bit, but a stage 1 tune and a set of pipes can bring it to life. Along the lines of the Triumph Bobber, there's also the Speedmaster. Now, released in 2002 with a 790cc engine, but the specs I have listed are for the bigger engine, which is a 1200cc, and it was released in 2023. The seat height is 705mm. The weight is quite a hefty 263 kilogram, and the power of 77 horsepower. This model has feet forward pegs, but depending on your preferences, standard MIG pegs are available, but of course at an extra cost. So I hope you found the content useful. If you have, please do the tips, like and subscribe, and as always, take care, ride safe, and bye for now.